And what's good, you guys? It's your boy here, and today we'll be at it again with another review. And today we'll be reviewing Mass Effect Andromeda. And the reason why I'm reviewing this game is because that there aren't really games that I'm actually interested on playing, and I just got bored. And on top of that, I remember in my past videos that I streamed the game, but I never reviewed it, so I was like, I might as well. So with that out of the way, let's go on with this review. So Mass Effect Andromeda is an action role-playing video game developed by BioWare and published by EA. The game is set within the Andromeda galaxy during the 19th century, where humanity is planning to populate new homeworld as part of a strategy called the Andromeda Initiative. You play as an inexperienced military recruit who joins the initiative and wakes up in Andromeda following a 634-year sleeper ship journey. Majority of the events transpire that results in you becoming humanity's pathfinder, who is tasked with finding a new homeworld for humanity while also dealing with an antagonist alien species known as the Cat, and uncovering the secrets of the mysterious synthetic intelligent species known as the Remnant. So that is enough about the plot. Let's talk about the overall gameplay. Again, this game is an action role-playing game which you can take control of either Sarah or Scott Ryder from a third-person perspective. Now, I'm going to talk about the customization for a second, because honestly, comparing the customization now than upon release, it was definitely 10 times better. Even though they didn't really make any drastic changes, I feel that majority of the customization in the customization mode is pretty fair. Now, let's talk about the combat. The combat in this game takes place in real time, and you can move around the battlefield in a variety of ways, including a side-to-side dash or a vertical leap into the air using a jetpack. And when you approach an object, you will automatically take cover, providing yourself with some protection in battle. And naturally, you can bring at least 2 other crew members with you who generally act anonymously but can be given specific orders by you. This is where I explain the most coolest and the most mind-blowing part of the game ever. So in the past Mass Effect games, you can choose between 6 different character classes that each has their own unique set of skills. Instead of doing it that way, you have a free reign to assign any skill that you want and build towards a specialty over the course of the game. And on top of that, you can rotate between up to 4 combinations of skills and profiles by setting them up in a favorite slot. That means you can change your abilities on the fly. Majority of the experience points are earned by completing missions, and there is no cap on the number of points that can be earned. Once enough points are gained, you can level up, which allows you for the unlocking and upgrades of skills along a skill tree. The points assigned to each skill can be constantly relocated so that you can experiment with multiple gameplay approaches without having to restart your game or build up your skills from scratch again. But that is not the only way to deal damage, though. You can also deal damage by enemies by also using gunfire and melee attacks as well. Some weapons in the game have a fine magazine and requires you to replenish ammunition after a certain number of shots, where other weapons operate on an overheated system where you must wait for the weapon to cool down after a certain number of shots. In this game, you can explore the Helios cluster of the Andromeda galaxy by selecting destinations from inside of a ship called the Tempest. It was a big annoyance because we wasn't able to skip majority of that bullshit, so we honestly had no choice but go at their pace. But now you are able to skip it and go your own pace. I'm sorry, but the reason why I'm saying it is it's because at least with the Mass Effect trilogy, it wasn't really forced upon you to do that, but at least with this one, it actually felt like it was kind of forced upon you. So I really do appreciate that they added this feature on there. So there are 5 primary planets, over a dozen of hub worlds that connect you to various quests that can be completed, such as taking out hostile enemy bases, scanning for objects with useful data, or completing loyalty missions for your squad mates. As quests are completed, you can earn Andromeda viability points, which allows for the waking of colonists from hibernation, and planets increase their viability levels. And while doing so, you can also create your own outpost. The game's primary planets have open world environments and can be traversed by using the Nomad. As new areas are explored, you can find drop zones that can serve as a fast travel point and allows for a loadout change. And over the course of the game, you can find blueprints and resources that are used for crafting weapons and armor. Some planets have an environmental hazard that must be accounted for. For example, a planet called Vold, where you must avoid the cold to prevent from taking damage. Now I'm going to talk about the dialogue in this game. You can interact with characters in the game by using a radical command menu, where dialogue options depend on the wheel's direction. And around the wheel are 4 types of responses that shape each conversation, which is emotional, logical, professional, and casual. So during both dialogue and quest sequences, you are sometimes tasked with making moral decisions that do not have a clear good or bad distinction, but are intended to be more nuanced, completely getting rid of the Paragon and Renegade system. And you are also prompt with an impulse action that offers an additional choice to what is available on the dialogue wheel. Honestly, with me personally, I just didn't really care for majority of the characters. It's either that I didn't really care for majority of the characters, or freaking I didn't even know majority of the characters even existed. Gil for a good example. And on a personal take, honestly, it didn't really matter because majority of the decision that you make still have the same outcome. So it didn't really matter what responses that you used. Going back to the game, I realized that the graphics was definitely better than what I imagined in the back of my head. So graphically, the game is good when the game was actually working. And I wish that I had clips of it, but I encountered numerous glitches even though I played it on my Xbox Series S. And yes, some of them were game breaking to the point where I actually have to restart my freaking game. Anyways, besides all of that, in addition to the single player campaign, you can also play multiplayer. Multiplayer revolves around horde style cooperative matches in which you must survive escalating waves of enemies and completing a series of objectives. And before you even consider on heading into battle, you can also select your character, escalate skill points, and manage your weapons. And unlike the single player campaign, you aren't really limited on what type of species that you would like to play. After a match is done, all players earn experience points and credits. The former is used to further characters upgrade and the latter is used to buy unlockables. And personally, I would like to say that the fact that I am so surprised of how many people even bother to play the multiplayer. Because honestly, when I first hopped into multiplayer, I automatically assumed that it was going to be dead on arrival. But surprisingly, people actually still play this game. Before I forget, if you do have doo-doo Wi-Fi or a bad connection, it can get pretty bad. But majority of my time when I was playing, it was fairly okay. So I had no problems with the multiplayer. If we missed anything, let's hop onto the overview. On the positive side of things, the story is decent, the customization is fair, the overall gameplay was freaking fantastic, that's where it mostly shines. The skill tree was freaking fantastic. Environmentally and the gameplay standpoint, it was fantastic. The crafting was good. Graphically, the game was 10 times better than when I thought it was in my head, and I had no problems with the multiplayer. On the negative side of things, the exploration, it was kind of forced upon a little bit too much. I didn't really stand the dialogue because I didn't really care for a majority of the characters anyway, and be aware of glitches in this freaking game. This game came out in March 21st, 2027. The game should be in most platforms, so PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, and it should be in the next-gen consoles as well. If you get the game digitally, it should be about $29.99 in each platform. It'll cost more if you get certain editions. If you get the physical copy of the game, my sources saying that you could get the game for at least $20, but I know that you could definitely get it way cheaper than that, but honestly, it all depends on where you look. So, is this game actually worth your money? Personally, with me, it's honestly not that bad. I honestly thought it would be 10 times worse than I thought it would be. And playing this game again actually brought me back some good memories while playing this game. And I'm gonna repeat myself, even though that majority of the content is just whatever, the overall gameplay is where this game actually shines. So with that being said, I highly advise you guys to buy this game with caution. If not buy this game, at least rent it to try it out for yourself. So that was the review. If you like the review, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. I do reviews, videos, PvP matches, streams, and more. And if you haven't yet, please don't forget to follow me on my Facebook page and my Twitch account because I stream on those platforms as well. Everything should be in the description box below, and I will catch you guys on the next review.